Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anu Joshi and I'm a real estate broker based in Toronto serving the Greater Toronto Area. I'm also the founder of Anuvision Group. On today's video, I'm going to be discussing the January 2023 market stats for the Greater Toronto Area. As we moved from 2022 over to 2023, the GTA housing market unfolded as expected. The number of January sales and the overall selling price were very similar to what happened in December 2022. On a year-over-year basis, both sales and prices were down quite a bit, continuing to highlight the impact of higher borrowing costs on affordability over the last year. Keep in mind that the stats I'm going to be discussing with you today for January 2023 are going to be compared year over year to January 2022. Now, here's where I'd like to point out that in 2022, January and February, we saw some crazy sales, some crazy market rates in terms of the prices and the volume of sales that was occurring. We had a super early spring market. I don't even know if we could call it that, but basically there was a ton of activity going on and a lot of it was, selling above asking, selling in multiple offers right across the board in all TRREB areas, so all over GTA. We were seeing the same thing. And a lot of those price increases we saw later in 2022 were not sustainable, right? With interest rates rising, etc., and a bunch of other factors, the prices did eventually come down. Excuse me. However, in January and February of 2022, they were super, super high, right? So we are going to see a lot of decreases when we're comparing Jan 2023 year over year to Jan 2022. So just keep that in mind as we go through the stats here. That being said, GTA Realtors reported 3,100 sales through TRREB's MLS system in January of this year, which was in line with December 2022 as well. We had about 3,100 sales last month too. But it was down 44.6% from January 2022. So 3,100 sales this Jan, and let me get the number, about 5,600 last January. So that's down 44.6%, which we are seeing, not a ton of listings out there, not a ton of volume of sales that's occurring in the current real estate market. The average selling price for January 2023 across all home types across the GTA was $1,038,000, which was slightly lower than the December 2022 results and down 16.4% compared to Jan 2022 average price. So we are going to go into detail about the different types of homes, and I'm going to show you a little bit of more information about that. But keep in mind that it was Jan 2023 in terms of volumes, in terms of sale prices, in terms of number of listings, everything was down, down, down in 2023, as we know, compared to the boom, the craziness that was happening in January of 2022. So I'm just going to share my screen here to show you the stats. And here we have it. So this is a market watch, which is published by the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board every month. And these are the statistics that I go through for you in detail on my YouTube channel every single month. So here we see that in terms of sales this month, as I mentioned, we had 3,100 sales compared to the 5,600 that happened last year. So a market drop. Now we're looking at the average price. As I mentioned, Jan 2023, the average price was $1,038,000. Last year at this time for January, the average price was $1.242 million, which was substantially more than what we saw this January. Also, I'd like to share with you that in 2023, we had approximately the same new listings in the month of January. So in 2022, we had 7,900 listings. In 2023, Jan, we had 7,600 listings. So sort of in the same range as each other. But the biggest difference was obviously in price, which was a drop of 16.4%. The other thing I'd also like to point out to you, the big difference, the major difference percentage-wise, the most in terms of the average listing or property days on market. So property days on market refers to how many days that property has spent on MLS. It includes, things like price reductions, the seller and the listing agent taking the property off the market and putting it back on the market, etc. So in 2022, the average days on market for a property were only 18. In 2023, we are seeing that the average days on market for any property on the MLS is 41 days on the market. So that is a great indicator for telling us the state of the real estate market. Of course, it's not the whole picture. We have to look at it in conjunction with sales, with listings, with average price, etc. However, days on market does give us sort of a pulse to show us, what's happening in the market, what the sentiment might be. That being said, going into the number of sales and the average price by home type, I'm going to go through average price specifically. So in Jan 2023 for detached homes in all of the GTA, so all of Greater Toronto Area, specifically for detached, the average price was 1.3 million, which was down 23% from last year. For semi-detached, it was 1.019 million, which was also down 22.3% from last year. Average price for townhomes all across the GTA was $887K, which was down 18% from last year. And if we look at condo apartments, the average condo apartment price in Jan 2023 was $687,000, also down 8.1% from last year. So we see across all home types, detached, semi-detached, townhouse, and condo apartments, we are seeing a year-over-year decrease, which is, as I shared with you, the crazy boom prices of Jan 2022 and Feb 2022 before the interest rates started going up in March 2022. So obviously, when we're comparing Jan and Feb 2022 to Jan and Feb of 2023, we are going to see this sort of trend. I would not be surprised if we saw the same thing in February or something very similar, because both Jan and Feb, the prices last year were just going up like crazy. And right now we have a much, quieter market just because people are still adjusting to inflation. People are still, thinking about what to do. Not as many buyers are out there. We are seeing now buyers are getting, a little bit more comfortable with the interest rate situation. We don't know if the Bank of Canada is going to continue raising rates or not. Even on that, I'll keep you posted through my regular updates on my YouTube channel. They did raise it most recently in January. We don't know if they're going to raise it again in March. However, we are seeing some buyers kind of come back into the market, but not a significant amount, not yet at least. It will take some time for buyers, whether they're first-time buyers or they're selling a property and buying another one. It'll take some time for them to get adjusted to the current market trends, with the stress test so high, with the interest rate so high in terms of affordability, in terms of approvals, and in terms of inventory. We don't have a ton of inventory out there, to be very honest with you. And all of these factors play into what's happening in the real estate market. Really, we can't just look at, interest rates are going up and that's why buyers aren't buying, right? That's not the only reason. It's a huge reason, absolutely. But also there are people that are in homes right now where the interest rate is impacting them, right? Will they start listing now that those mortgages are coming up for renewal and stuff like that in this brand new high interest rate environment? Are there going to be people that can't afford their mortgages anymore? They could for the last, 5-year cycle, let's say, but they can't anymore. And so are they going to be, financing with private lenders? Are they going to be moving their, financing from or mortgages from A lenders to B lenders, B to C, C to private? Or are we going to see them listing their homes? Right? And potentially adding some more inventory into the market. Will that bring additional buyers into the market because the inventory is there? Because right now it's not. Right now, for the most part, people are just staying put. Right? That's the overall sentiment. Of course, there are listings in the market. Of course, there are buyers in the market. I'm helping clients on both sides of the transaction. But I do want to highlight to you, just on a high level, that the market right now looks very different from what we saw in Jan and Feb of last year. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that, right? My job here is to provide my viewers and my followers and my current and future clients with sound advice and honest information, right? And I would be remiss if I was going to be just another agent that said, no, everything's fantastic, everything's great, do it. No, we are in changing economic times. The economy, is impacted by a number of factors. Obviously, the housing piece in Toronto and the GTA is a huge part of the puzzle. Absolutely. It affects so many families, so many homeowners, so many renters that want to be homeowners, so many investors. It impacts everybody, right? And so my job here is just to give you a clear view of what's happening in terms of stats and helping you interpret those policies and how they're going to impact you so that you can make better decisions about your real estate, the plans. You have to do what makes sense for your finances and for your family. That's always my advice to my clients. And if you would like some specific advice, or if you're interested in potentially working together and seeing how I can help you in this market, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description box below. Feel free to reach out and I would be more than happy to help you. If you have any other questions, I'd love to hear from you. Please comment below. And if you thought this video was helpful, please give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel, because I do post new and informative real estate videos every single week. The last video that I uploaded is right here, and the subscription button is right here. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.